All right. Well, this is the first song I ever wrote, and I just realized that it's about 35 years old and still living at home, so I decided to be a little less protective of it. It's called Yellow Philodendrons, real short piece. Yellow philodendrons on the windowsill. My, what a lovely day. Saturday morning, got nothing to do. Would you like to come and play with me? We could sit and talk and have a laugh or two. An afternoon all our own. 'Cause there's yellow philodendrons on the windowsill, and I don't want to be alone. And I don't want to be alone.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, hello. My name is Ed Hawks, and this is the 23rd edition of Listen Up, Illinois on Urbana Public Television, UP-TV, Channel 6, here in Urbana, Illinois. And today we're taping the show at the lovely Urbana City Building in the Urbana City Council chambers. And I'm glad today to have as my guest Kevin Elliot. I recently just met Kevin. He came to one of the concerts that the CU Folk and Roots Festival was promoting, the Claudia Schmidt concert, and he had known Claudia for a long time, or known of her, so he was happy to see her in town. But anyway, I had a chance to meet him and found out that he played some music himself. So checked his website out and enjoyed the music and thought he'd be a good person to have here on the show. So welcome to the show, Kevin. I appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Ed, and thanks for inviting me, and thanks for all the musical things you do in the community, too.
I appreciate it. I enjoyed doing it. So you said that song was 35 years old, so I assume you've been playing for at least 35 years or longer. So kind of how did your musical journey begin, and how did you end up here?
Well, I've been a music lover probably all my life. I remember being like 5 or 6 years old and having a little phonograph and listening to Tom Dooley by the Kingston Trio and things like that, you know. And so I always had this kind of affinity for acoustic guitar and folky stuff, singer-songwriter stuff, and that developed to the point where after a few false starts in high school, I finally, when I went away to college, I kind of buckled down and learned how to play some guitar and learned how to sing a little better. I'd never had any lessons or anything, and started learning some of the folkier stuff, and then before too long started toying with writing things, and so off and on for all that time I've been playing and writing and being mostly, though, a music appreciator. I'm just a music lover, and so I listen a lot. I go to a lot of concerts. I do a radio show here in the community that's all folk and acoustic music, and so got my fingers in a lot of different musical pies, I guess.
Yeah, so you started out playing other people's material, kind of cover songs of folk music.
Yeah, I learned, like, you know, Paul Simon stuff and James Taylor stuff, and then that was like, you know, from people showing me how to do it. Then finally I began to try to figure out things by ear, and I started learning some acoustic fingerstyle guitarist stuff that started to gain in popularity back in the, I don't know, 1960s and 1970s. So folks like Jorma Kaukonen, who played for the Jefferson Airplane, and Leo Kottke, and, you know, Dwayne Allman with his fingerstyle stuff, which is actually the theme music to my radio show, Little Martha. So stuff like that, just especially fingerstyle guitar. I don't know what it is. It just, man, it just hit me kind of emotionally. I've always loved it, still do.
Just kind of like that, the way the melodies run with the fingerstyle guitar, kind of, and having the little kind of alternating bass or bass runs in there.
Yeah. That I think that rhythm really does appeal to me, and then it does have like usually at least one melody going on, and sometimes different voices going on at the same time. So yeah, I don't know what it is exactly, but I love the sound of it.
Great. Well, let's hear some more of that sound then.
All right. Here's another one. I guess I'll play all original stuff today, and I don't know what to say about this one. It's I guess I joke about it sometimes. It's about 80% true. The other 20% didn't rhyme, so I made it up. So this is called Me and the Kid. Me and the kid, we were running away. Had no ties to bind us, nobody to find us. We were gone in a day. We had $500 and that old panel truck. Ran out on my lady, the arrangement was shady. But the kid brought me luck. So we headed out west. We drove fast and we drank. We picked up hitchhikers, some wannabe bikers, siphoned gas for our tank. Made it out to L.A., tried to locate a friend. We just barely missed her, we crashed with her sister, who was half round the bend. And we were all singing our song, singing sloppy but singing strong. Bound to turn out wrong, wrong, wrong. But didn't last too long. We left early in the morning, headed north up the coast. Hit the Golden Gate City, we depleted our kitty. The kid splits from his post. Feeling homesick and stupid, he sells off his truck. Even though it's December, he flies back to Denver. And there goes my luck. Singing one last song, singing sloppy but singing strong. Bound to turn out wrong, wrong, wrong. But didn't last too long. I call up my old lady, try to make my amends, but she's back with her ex, she says it's only sex. Well, I guess that depends. So I settle into my life, and this lasts a few years. Try to work when I'm able, always under the table. Mostly keeps me in beers. And I'm not proud of my stories, all the lies that I hid, but sometimes it's funny, I wouldn't trade them for money. All the things that I did, like that road trip with me and the kid. And I'm still singing my song, still singing sloppy and singing strong. Life is full of all of this stuff. Don't last long enough. It don't last long enough. It don't last long enough. Thank you. Give a little sip of water here. That journey dried me out. All that West Coast driving, I guess. Want to hear another one?
Yeah.
Okay. See if capo behaves here. Pretty good. Close enough. All right. Well, this one here, I will not admit to this being true. Came from somewhere, though. I got a new hat and suspenders to match my new bow tie, pinstripe pants, leather spats, and a monocle for my left eye. I am notorious for my sideburns, goatee, and silver tooth. I got a pint of brandy, some butterscotch candy, and this time it's the truth. I got a valuable antique pool cue. My shirt's clean, starched and blue. I got a tab at the bar and a fat cigar and a large obscene tattoo. I know a sweet old gal, I got a checkerboard. I was wounded in the war. I got a brass spittoon in the month of June and a hound dog by the door. I got a new hat and suspenders to match my new bow tie. I said it before, and I'll say it some more, and I'll say it till the day I die. While I play my ukulele with a flower in my lapel, I'm having fun, I've got a gun, so you all go to hell. Thank you. Thank you.
Just do another one. We'll just keep.
All righty. Sure. Well, another capo experiment here.
I guess maybe some people watching may not know how the capo works. So a simple question, what's the idea of the capo, and what advantage is that using a capo over just playing, without the capo on there?
Well, I think most people nowadays use capos, but some people might prefer the more challenging method of playing in every key without cheating, But essentially what the capo does, it raises the pitch by, a half step each fret that you place it on. And therefore you can play certain formations and have it fit with your voice better, but play kind of a preferred arrangement rather than changing the arrangement around. And nowadays they have really elaborate capos that cover, some of them just cover part of the strings, so you can have some strings open and some capoed, and so you can get really imaginative with it. I haven't really explored those very much, but I do use the standard capos quite a bit. And in fact, people who are guitarists who are paying attention may notice that I actually have my guitar tuned down a whole step. So it's in standard tuning, but it's a whole step lower than standard tuning. And that seems to fit with my voice well when I play with the strings open, which I'll do a little bit here pretty soon, But then for the others, I've moved the capo up to adjust.
It's not an open tuning, but you just have like the E tuned down to a D.
Yeah, yeah. So it's in the same proportion as the standard tuning, the E, A, D, G, B, E, but they're all a whole step lower. So. Yeah, and I just sort of hit upon that because I was frustrated. I had an arrangement I wanted to make work for a song, and it was stretching my voice too much, which doesn't have much range. And finally I decided, well, I'm just going to tune the guitar down rather than trying to keep stretching this or rewrite the whole arrangement. So, and then, I just kept doing it. It seemed to work okay that way.
So if you have the capo on the second fret, then you're actually in standard.
Yeah, now I'm in standard tuning right now.
Right, yeah.
Give or take, with my tuning abilities.
Yeah, well, I hadn't. I mean, my ear is not that good. I didn't really notice that much, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, well, I was playing down in Effingham once with one of those really good guitar players. His name's Larry Pasalacqua, who can hear like about half a measure of what you're playing and start playing along and sound wonderful. But in addition to using his ear, he does use his eyes, and he saw the chord formations I was forming, but they weren't fitting with what he was playing. And then he figured out, like, after 2 or 3 measures, like, hey, wait a minute, you're tuned down a whole step. But he adjusted. Some people are just pretty amazing that way. I'm not one of those people, but
yeah. Great. Well, let's hear something.
Okay.
In standard tuning with the capo on.
There you go. Now we're in standard tuning, even though it doesn't look like it ought to be. All right. Well, I'm going to try. It sounds kind of funny. I'm going to try one of my own songs, but I tend to write some of my songs that push my limits a little bit.
Musically or vocally? When you like the
Not vocally. I don't tend to push my voice too much, but the guitar arrangement sometimes I get them how I want them, but they're just kind of hard for me to do. But I want to hang on to them that way, and so after a while they get to be more second nature to me. But anyway, this is one of the ones that we'll hope it turns out okay.
okay.
It's called Creepin' Charlie. Let's try that intro again. They say violets are blue. I say roses are too, filtered through the summer moonlight at midnight, sipping my blue wine. It's a habit of mine, and the air is sweet and dark. Alone in the park, where the stray dogs bark their warning, and morning is hours away. Almost another day, and I laugh a little, cry a little more. That's what it's for. By myself at last, just me and my past, seen it all before. And I call on my beauties and bums, creeping Charlie comes, always picking a fight, and what an appetite, can't keep him at bay, and now he's taken it all away. Maybe another day, when the bough breaks, who falls? Maybe no one at all. It's just a call to the unawakened. mistakenly counting sheep, fast asleep. That's when Charlie creeps to your door, and you laugh a little, cry a little more. That's what it's for. Getting under your skin, then you give in, just like before. And you call on your beauties and bums. Creeping Charlie comes, always picking a fight. What an appetite, can't keep him at bay. And now he's taking it all away. Maybe another day. And I laugh a little, cry a little more. That's what it's for. Getting under my skin, then I give in, just like before. And I call on my beauties and bums. Creeping Charlie comes, always picking a fight. And what an appetite, can't keep him at bay. And now he's taking it all away. Maybe another day. They say roses are red, or maybe violets instead, but the night is blue. Guess I am too.
I see what you mean by pushing the limits of the instrumental part of that, because you're kind of up and down the neck and doing a lot of the melody there. And so I guess, how did you kind of learn to do that? Did you teach yourself? Did you study chord structure somehow? Did you study music to kind of figure that out, or you just played with the guitar a lot and were able to kind of teach yourself how to do that?
Well, I never had any formal training. I had a lot of people show me stuff, and I watched a lot of what people's fingers did. And I tried to take I actually did take a couple of music theory classes, but I didn't really apply them even as far as even learning how to read music. So I don't know how to read music. I've sort of been introduced to, every good boy deserves favor, all that stuff, but I don't actually use it in my playing. I tend to hear, like intervals and things like that, and I found I don't remember them unless I translate them to finger positions. And then that's kind of what I do. I toy around with finger positions, and then certain intervals just really sound good to me. And so whether I'm learning a song or writing a song, I tend to kind of mix like what I do, like some comfort with what I do with my fingers and remembering what I do with just particular sounds that resonate with me. With that particular song, it's kind of interesting. I was fortunate enough a couple years ago I was attending the Folk Alliance Conference down in Memphis, which I've been doing for the last 4 years. And when I first went down there, I kept thinking, like, man, I'm one of you guys. I really want to do this. And fortunately, I was able to play in this little music room that was sponsored by this little record company called Suna Songs, and they liked my music and offered to record me, which has been really great. I'm excited about it, and we've started that process. But they wanted me to write new songs. They liked my old songs, but they said, let's have the latest, and that was a bit daunting, but a lot of fun. And one of the things I did was I had written some instrumental pieces, and my wife uses them on her podcast. She does lots of different, like, motivational and body image and weight loss podcasts. And so she was using my instrumental music as backdrop. And in order, to sort of like make that more official, I had, named the songs. And so I had these instrumentals that already had names, but I wanted to write words to them. So I had to write words that fit the titles. And that was one of them. I'd already named that Creepin' Charlie. And so I sort of like meditated on the whole notion of Creepin' Charlie. And
Yeah, it ended up fitting, I think.
yeah.
I was I was thinking that it was, well, did the words come first or the music in that one? So it was actually the instrumental part came first, and you fit the words to it. So.
Yeah, in that case, that's what I did. So, and the songs do come different ways, but in that case, it was the instrumental, and I had no words at first, and I wrote the words to fit. And then occasionally I'll have some words that don't have a musical partner, and I'll have an arrangement, and sometimes sort of like experiment with putting things together that way. Only once in a while does everything come all at once. But
yeah. Do you have a song where you wrote the words first and then the instrumental later?
Yeah, I do. I have a few years ago. I don't do this as much now. I do it some especially when I'm focusing on songwriting. But a few years ago, I was doing journaling every day, and I was using The Artist's Way. Have you ever seen that book?
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a pretty cool book, and among other good things in there was a recommendation for people like me who tend to be kind of perfectionistic to journal in a manner that cuts through perfectionism. So just start out with a pen and start writing, and then don't stop writing until you've covered 3 pages, I think it was, or something like that.
Kind of stream of consciousness kind of thing.
Yeah, so I had permission to write gibberish. I sort of like, other than that, I might be fretting about what first word I should start with. But with having those kind of guidelines, I would start writing, and then before too long, it would become more cohesive. And so a lot of song lyrics came out that way, including one song which I'll probably have time to play today that came out all in one piece, which was kind of amazing. Now when I look back on my journaling and I see that, it's like, wow, like, not that it's like, I think it's a masterpiece, but just the fact that it came out all at once, it's kind of an interesting process. So I do it lots of different ways. In that case, I had written the music first, and then sort of figured out what kind of words I wanted to go with it. So yeah, but I sure have a lot of fun with it. Every so often I get kind of like writer's block or something, and that's frustrating.
I mean, to me, it's amazing because I don't write music, so it's amazing to me that people can put the words together and fit the music together. To me, that's an amazing talent. So,
yeah, I'm grateful to do it, and then I think part of the process is always like coming up with something and then wondering if it's like really worth sharing with anyone or not. There's a lot of, for me anyway, a lot of question marks still about like, is this really a song, or am I just messing around? Right. But fortunately, I have a lot of supportive people in my in my life who treat me gently.
Yeah, who'll give you some feedback and let you know truthfully what they think of it.
Yeah, and so I've had to get better at accepting feedback and working with it and realizing that's part of the process, to revise and stuff like that.
Well, I know some people, they write a song and it's so personal they're not sure if they want to share that much of themselves. I mean, do you have songs that are really personal to you that you wrote out of emotion that you had, or something that happened to you that you're reluctant to share sometimes, or?
Yeah, there's been some that have been, I guess, pushing my boundaries a little bit of self-disclosure. But I find that the way I like to hear songs, and that's sort of turned into the way I like to write songs, is to be suggestive enough rather than too explicit, so that any listener can fit themselves into it. So like if I hear a song and I'm going along with it, and I can sort of personalize it, and then something gets thrown in there that's clearly not me, that's not as much fun for me. And so I like there to be room in songs for anybody to be able to personalize it if possible. Sometimes, I mean, you got to make it real too, so you can't like have it so vague that it doesn't tell you anything. But I kind of like maintaining that balance. So I think that also protects my privacy a little bit too.
Right.
And but yeah, I think most of the songs I write are personal. That one that I played, New Hat and Suspenders, I'm not sure what part of my life that comes from, but probably applies to something.
Well, great. Well, let's hear something else then.
Okay. I'll play some more in this capo placement since it's always an adventure for me to switch. This one here, I kind of joked that it's very, very 2008-ish, but somebody told me, unfortunately, it probably will always apply. It's called The Kingpin. Now that the kingpin's come and gone, looking down the road which way was wrong. All the stories he told served your supper cold, trampled all your marigolds. He'll never confess he ever made that mess, tracking his mud. I guess he couldn't care less, but he smiled when he said God bless. So Lord help us along now that the kingpin's come and gone, come and gone. Now that the kingpin's passed on through, looking down the road, what you gonna do? You knew it from the start, upset your apple cart, oh, your broken heart. He wiped his boots on your Sunday suit, didn't give a damn what you constitute. You lost your loot, watch out, he'll execute. Only now he's through, it's time for the switcheroo. Switcheroo. Light a cigar, lighten your load, warm up the car and shovel the road. Strum your guitar, dance until dawn, then stay right where you are, 'cause the kingpin's come and gone, come and gone. Now that the kingpin's come and gone, looking down the road, which way was wrong? Which way was wrong? We was wrong. Thank you. All right. Well, there's one more in this placement. Shall I go ahead and play that one in?
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
All righty. I won't say anything about this one. Maybe I should make sure I'm in tune. Pretty close, I guess. Close enough. There's something about you of a subtle kind, not easily read by a sober mind, but one thing ain't hard to find. This probably ain't the right thing to say, but you're the prettiest girl in AA. Hey, hey. My life has been nothing but one big regret. I lost all those women, all the friends I met. Can I bum a cigarette? This really ain't the right thing to say, but you're the prettiest girl in AA. Hey, hey, oh yeah. What would you tell me if I said I love you? You'd tell me you're a friend of Bill W. Can't give your number to just any slob. I ain't just any slob. 'Cause I just got a job. I just got a job. What would you tell me if I said I love you? You tell me you're a friend of Bill W. Can't give your number to just any slob. I ain't just any slob. 'Cause I just got a job. I got a job, baby. I got a part-time job. And we talk about alcohol. And sometimes I feel kind of blue. It's got nothing to do with you. I know this ain't the right thing to say, but you're the prettiest girl in AA. I know this ain't the right thing to say. You're the prettiest girl in AA. The prettiest girl in AA. I know this ain't the right thing to say. The prettiest girl in AA. Hey, hey, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, maybe this is a good time to ask you a question. And one of your part of your life, you are a therapist, right?
That's right. That's my day job.
So does that impact your music in any way or your songwriting? Is there anything that comes out of that turns into a song, or is it just is songwriting a way to kind of get your mind off of that and relax a little bit?
You know, I found myself nodding my head to both of those things because I think it is both. It does, the two lend themselves to one another. I mean, it's sort of about like trying to find, you know, the truth in the way people are connected with one another, and being observant and touching into emotion. And so they both kind of involve those things. And so they're pretty compatible in that way. On the other hand, I do like to keep, you know, sections of my life separate from one another, and so when I punch out from work, that I'm not taking it with me, and that's where my music comes in. I'm really, even though I would love to be a successful musician, I'm quite happy now to have that be an avocation rather than a vocation. It's so I can have fun with it. I don't have to, you know, punch a time clock. And although, you know, when you're recording, you have to do a little bit of that stuff, but. And, you know, like I said, I'm totally receptive to having that be successful, but it's also kind of nice as being a hobby part of my life, so I'm not working when I do that, you know?
Right. Yeah, if it became your vocation, then you'd have to figure out a way to escape that, I guess. Find some relaxation outside of trying to make music your I mean, because that's a pretty hard job. You have to
Yeah.
find gigs. You have to be able to travel somehow, either driving or you're on the road, or to be a successful professional musician. There's a lot of work that goes into that too, that you have to find relaxation from, I would think.
Oh yeah, I mean, as a DJ, I interact with tons of musicians who send me their music, and then we exchange emails, and then I get to meet a lot of them down in Memphis when I go to Folk Alliance and stuff, and they are hardworking people, like some of the most talented people I know, and they have to struggle to get by. I mean, that people joke about it, like there's hundreds of dollars to be made in folk music, and this CD should sell dozens, and things like that. But it's hard work, and there's that whole part of the music business, which is business, and so you have to promote and hustle and network and all that stuff, which is it's fun if it's among people with similar passions and stuff, but it's hard work. So what I do is I have other hobbies that are not either one of those things. I go ride my bike long distance and stuff like that, or hang out with my wife, or do things like that, so anyway, I have different sections of life that I carve out.
Yeah, I noticed that you ride like as far as Austin, Texas, or did you
Yeah.
ride to California too? Or?
Not yet. I'm hoping for maybe even next year to do coast to coast, but I did ride from Urbana to Austin, Texas one year, and that was tremendous fun. It was kind of hard. Well, I mean, that sort of goes without saying, I guess, but I actually kind of hurt my knee a little bit, like in the first 50 miles, but I just couldn't stand the thought of not doing it, so I kept doing it, and I was like struggling to climb stairs some days at the end of the day, but anyway, within like 1 or 2 days in Austin, it was all better. So I guess it was an okay choice. I wasn't being too reckless.
Now, did you play any music when you went down to Austin? Are you able to take your guitar with you when you go on a bicycle trip like that?
On all of my long distance trips I've done, I haven't taken my guitar simply because I've learned to try to travel pretty light. I now have a little backpacker guitar. On my new CD, there's going to be one song. Actually, the Yellow Philodendron song is going to be recorded on that little backpacker. So that's kind of in my plans now, to take that with me, because it's very light and small. And with some of my trips, like to Austin, and then I rode to Michigan a couple of years ago, which was actually a short trip compared to the Austin one. My wife Sandra will meet up with me, and she'll bring my guitar and all that stuff. So I won't be playing on the road. And frankly, at the end of the day, after riding all day, I don't really feel like doing much except soaking and resting and eating, and that's about it anyway.
So did you have friends in Austin, like musician friends?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I keep having to wet my whistle there, but yeah, I think actually at the time that I went down there, I wasn't as good of friends as I am now with some Austin people, but I've made some really good Austin friends, and they actually come up here and visit me, and we play music together. And then I'm going to be doing a little tour in Texas, not by bicycle, in the fall, although it would be great if I could do it by bicycle, but don't have that much time to take away from my day job. But yeah, I'm going to be playing in Houston and Austin and probably Dallas, and then that might be it. It's not going to be like a huge like money-making venture, more just fun, and hanging out with new friends and old friends.
Yeah, you get a chance to meet new people, have a little adventure, and make a little bit of money to help pay for the trip, I guess.
Yeah.
Plus, you get your CD out there. You get
I know.
more people that are going to, know about your CD. And
by the time I go to Texas, I should have my new one ready, I think, and so that'll be really cool.
So I guess we could talk a little bit about how many CDs do you have?
I only have one that's already been produced, and I recorded that pretty much kind of a DIY type project with David Ching in Savoy in his home studio. And so it's quite different from the current CD, because that first one, even though I'd kind of been preparing for years in a way, I recorded it all in 4 hours, and it still sounded okay. So at least I liked it, And this new one is more of an investment in time. We're recording different parts and different takes, and mixing and matching, and other musicians are going to play on it and stuff. So it's sort of the different or the other side of the spectrum, I guess. But
yeah, that's the way that a lot of CDs are done nowadays, I guess, where you have different tracks, and
Yeah.
people come in and lay down their track, and then you go in and lay down a track, and
Mm-hmm.
the real project. Are you doing that here in town?
It's been kind of fortuitous that the record company, even though they're based now in Johnson City, Tennessee, previously in Dallas, the producer, who's part of that family, actually lives here because he went to school here and he stayed. And so, like, I did most of the basic tracks down in Johnson City, Tennessee, just in January. And then we actually just recorded some additional parts just this past week in Muhammad. And so I can do probably all the rest of the recording I'll be doing will be up here. And there's not that much more for me to do. And then I think all the other parts will be recorded up here too, either in Muhammad or Savoy or right in Champaign.
So you have some local musicians who will be playing with you on that CD?
Yeah. There may be more than this, but for sure, Dorothy Martirano's playing, and Armin Baudouin, if I'm pronouncing Armin's name correctly.
A violin player.
Yeah, tremendously talented, and she, I was really lucky. She approached me and asked about participating, and I was delighted, and so I'm really excited about that. We haven't recorded Dorothy's parts yet, but that should be coming up within a few weeks.
And Armin's a bass player,
yeah.
I believe, right?
Yep, and so that's going to add a lot to my rather spare sound that I usually play with. And then the producer is also a musician, Graham Duncan, and so he'll be adding a lot of things too, like some percussion, some other guitar, maybe some keyboards.
Have a real full sound then.
Comparatively, we don't want to overdo it. I mean, like I really like kind of an organic sound, whatever that means. Nowadays, when you're using software, it's not exactly organic, I guess, But anyway, that's the sound I like. I like to be able to hear every instrument, and so it's not Phil Spector, like Wall of Sound or anything. But it will be a little bit more diverse than my other CD, and that's the comment I got most from people was, "Hey, that sound even better with a little guitar here, or a little bass, or a little percussion, or whatever."
Now, when you're playing a song or when you write a song, do you ever hear other instruments? I mean, some people say, when they're writing a song, they kind of can hear the other instrumental parts when they're playing it or while they're writing it. So does that happen to you? Or
Sometimes, yeah, but I'm so inexperienced at other instruments that I'm not really that fluent in that kind of thinking, I guess. I think I'll probably get better after this project, but so sometimes I will think of other instruments because from hearing other songs, I'll think like, oh, that sounds really cool with slide guitar or harmonica or accordion, or we were talking about some of my songs like cowbell or or something like that, and but not having I don't play any other instruments, and I'm not like well versed in classical composition or things like that, so I'm a bit limited, but I do think of other sounds as I'm imagining my own songs sometimes.
Okay. Well, let's hear another. Are some of the stuff you've been playing going to be on the new CD?
Yeah, actually, everything I played so far. One of the songs that I played was on my other CD too, but we've recorded it again, and we're going to include it also with a different arrangement. So I should probably see like. How many more should I play? That'll sort of help guide me which ones to choose.
We have maybe a little more than 10 minutes, I think.
Okay.
14 minutes.
Okay.
We have 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay.
So
Well, good. That means I could probably squeeze in 2 or 3 then.
Yeah.
And I won't play the really long one. Or maybe I'll play one really long one.
Then, well, maybe we can, so we don't run out of time. How would somebody, if they wanted to learn more about you, or if they wanted to buy the CD that you currently have, or see when the new CD comes out, where could they go to find that?
Probably the best thing to do is to go to my music website. I have a therapist website too, so I mean, one way or another you can get to my music, but the music website is my name followed by the word music.com. So it's KevinElliottMusic.com, and Kevin is Kevin, and Elliot has 2 L's and 2 T's. So I got extra L's and T's in there. So ELLIOTT, music.com. So yeah, if you go to my website, you'll get to hear what's up with me in terms of recording and performing, and I usually throw in there something even about bicycling or and then there's samples to listen to, and probably this will probably be on there too. We'll probably put this video or YouTube it or something.
Okay.
So cool. All right. Well, let's see. I think I'll play this one. My wife Sandra had talked to me in recent years about like how come I'd written all these songs and not written any about her, and so I had to buckle down. Fortunately, she likes it. Otherwise, it could have been back to the drawing board. There's a certain way you look when you aren't careful. At the same time, it's so reckless and so mild. Before you are aware, your eyes reveal you, needy and determined as a child, innocent but running loose and wild. And I know your love is pure as any river. I know your heart is open and it's true. Everything you promise you deliver. Simple grace in all the things you do. I'll never meet another one like you. You say that you make good on your selections. You tell me that you'll take me anywhere. You know me, all you seem to see right through me. No games to play, no camouflage to wear. So much to give, so much you have to share. You see things as they are, you feel so deeply, never holding back your laughter or your tears. Strong enough to handle what life deals you on your own. Faith that never wanes or disappears. Filling days with bright bouquets and souvenirs. And I know your love is pure as any river. I know your heart is open and it's true. Everything you promise you deliver. Simple grace in all the things you do. I'll never meet another one like you. Now I can't say how much I really love you. It's a feeling too fragile to express. I've never told you what a joy it is to hold you. You're so beautiful to me, I confess. I've been afraid I couldn't say these words, I guess. And I know your love is pure as any river. I know your heart is open and it's true. Everything you promise you deliver. Simple grace in all the things you do. I'll never meet another one like you. No, I'll never meet another one like you.
She should like that.
Oh, thank you.
You can say it much better than that. Well, I think we have time for one more, so I want to thank you for being here today, Kevin, on Listen Up Illinois. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed talking to you and enjoyed your music and enjoyed, people can also hear you as in your DJ persona on WEFT 90.1, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep.
On the radio dial on Tuesday nights.
That's right, from 6 to 8 p.m. I've been doing that for 15 years now, and I love doing it, so I'll be keeping it up for a while.
Great, good. So,
well, thank you, Ed. Thanks for inviting me to play, and it's good to get to know you. And thanks for bringing all that great music to town too, like Claudia Schmidt and Bill Staines and Red Molly and all that stuff.
Yeah, Red Molly, May 19th, Independent Media Center. So they're a great three-piece, all-female bluegrass folk band. So.
Yeah, I actually met them down at Memphis and at Folk Alliance. So, all right. Well, I'll do one that's actually on the CD you can get now. So I'll finish up with this one. It's called "The Promised Land." And thanks again. Rolling through the outskirts, smoking down the back streets, dropping all precautions and shooting up the boulevard. I am your hero, the promise of America. Look a little closer, I'm shuffling the cards. Maybe you've seen my face, maybe you've heard my name, maybe you know me like the back of your hand. Is it my destiny that leads me to the crossroads? This could only happen in the promised land. 'Cause I'm moving down the avenue, heading up the fast lane, beating my connection and wandering around the block. Look in my eyes, I'll tell you what I'm made of. No need to worry, man, it's only talk. Maybe you've seen my face, maybe you've heard my name, maybe you know me like the ball of your fist. Your chances with the promise of America, no need to worry, you're on the list. Ooh, ooh. I'll move all your merchandise, I'll take all that I can get, dress it up in a sugar coat and add it to my stash. Is it any wonder I'm sneaking down the alley roads, running around in circles and counting out my cash? Maybe you've seen my face, maybe you've heard my name, maybe you know me like the barrel of your gun. Where did I come from? Where am I going to? You got a problem. I'm the one, I'm the one. I'm a battle scene in a magazine, the rattle of your TV, the shadow on your doorway in the middle of the night. You know my story, the promise and the glory, drunk and desperate and ready for a fight. Maybe you've seen my face and maybe you don't care. I could be anywhere, leaning on my crutch. I am your hero, the promise of America. Everybody loves me, but not very much. No, no, no. Oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, can you see? It's you and it's me. No, no, no.